California's insurance of last resort is supposed to be for homes with high wildfire risk, but now people in low risk areas are being forced onto the FAIR plan, and you could be next. CBS News California Investigates Julie Watts is here live to explain why the state's solution may not be enough. Julie, this is wild.
Yeah, we really crunched the data. Our CBS News California data analysis found the vast majority of people who are on the FAIR plan actually live in areas that the insurance companies classify as low risk. Even the experts were surprised by what we found when we crunched that data and discovered that the state's proposed solution to get people off the FAIR plan likely won't be enough.
I love it, baby. I love it.
I do too.
For Ken and Lisa, their new house in West Roseville is the dream.
But hopefully we can get insurance.
I know.
That's quickly becoming an all too common nightmare.
Yeah, hope to God.
When Lisa called to transfer their insurance to the new house,
They said, I'm sorry, you're denied. And I was in shock. I thought, are you kidding me? He's been on their insurance for 30 years. And we've never had any problems. We've never had any claims.
and they're only moving 3 minutes away.
I was so surprised. I thought they were making a mistake, actually.
But it's no mistake. Turns out Lisa and Ken's insurer is among several major insurers that stopped writing new policies in California, meaning they're struggling to find an insurer for their new home, and the people buying their old home can't find insurance either.
Most people have mortgages, so they have to have insurance with that mortgage.
The only options? A risky, unregulated out-of-state insurer, or the California FAIR Plan, the state's insurance of last resort, which is expensive and doesn't cover much.
It's just a frightening time to be buying homes, living in homes. Even renters are going to have their problems.
The FAIR Plan was intended for homes with high wildfire risk, but a CBS News California data analysis finds most of the homes on the FAIR Plan are in the lowest risk zip codes according to the insurer's fire risk classification, like Ken and Lisa's, which gets just a 0.34 on the insurer's 4-point scale. In fact, we found there are 10 times more homes in low-risk zip codes than high-risk on the FAIR Plan. And while some are being forced into the FAIR Plan because they can't get new policies, others are losing their existing fire policies.
We share a roof, we share this wall,
Like Helen.
the same risk factors.
Her Palisades duplex survived the fire, but just weeks before, she was forced onto the FAIR Plan. State Farm renewed her neighbor's fire policy, but not Helen's.
It's totally random.
Why are so many low-risk homes being non-renewed?
It's a canary in the coal mine that there is a much bigger problem going on.
Rex Frazier represents the insurance industry.
They should be asking, why in the world does the FAIR Plan have 500,000 policies in it?
Because insurers are non-renewing policies. Why are they non-renewing policies?
Because we have a system in California that has not allowed companies to earn enough money to do business everywhere.
Insurers argue that California's strict insurance regulations have prevented them from charging enough to cover their risk, so they had to start cutting policies. Californians spend on average less for homeowners insurance than people in 19 other states, even though our home values and the costs to rebuild are much more expensive. Now, home insurers are still profitable in California, but a CBS News California data analysis reveals profitability has declined, and insurers rely on profits to replenish their reserves, which are also dwindling. They need reserves to cover claims after big events like the LA fires. So you're saying if we were paying more right now for insurance, we wouldn't be in this situation?
That's 100% what I'm saying. How can we simultaneously say we're in a changing climate, we have really expensive homes that are built next to a lot of burnable things, and then act like, oh, there's going to be no impact on rates? That's ridiculous.
Well, new regulations will soon let insurers charge more in California. And in exchange, insurers are supposed to write more policies for people on the FAIR Plan. But here's the catch. The regulation specifies only people on the FAIR Plan who the insurers classify as moderate to high wildfire risk. Remember, we showed you, according to the insurers, most people on the FAIR Plan live in low-risk zip codes. So the regulations may not help everyone on the FAIR Plan.
I think it's outrageous. The whole point of the regulations were to get people off their FAIR Plan.
Consumer watchdog's Jamie Court was surprised by our findings and notes insurers can now pass the cost of the FAIR Plan on to all of us.
When you crunch the numbers, as you have, it shows there is no incentive to get people off the FAIR Plan.
And there's no telling who might be forced onto the FAIR Plan next.
Everybody's at risk. Don't get comfortable with your insurance company right now because they can drop you like that.
Now, this was a rare case where after seeing our data, both insurance industry representatives and consumer advocates agreed that they would support updating the regulation to incentivize insurers to write policies for anyone on the FAIR Plan, not just people in high-risk areas. We've, of course, shared these findings with the Department of Insurance, and we'll be following up. Stay tuned.
Well, what about Ken and Lisa? Do they have a path to private insurance?
You know, that's what's really interesting. So Ken and Lisa's insurer is one of several that have now committed to start writing new policies in California as soon as the new regulations take effect. And that's sort of the argument. These new regulations will allow insurers to charge more. And so they're saying, okay, well, if more insurers are writing policies, there's more competition. And so ultimately rates will come down, more people will be insured. But it's a lot of what ifs, right? It's a lot of wait and sees.
Yeah, which isn't easy for people like Ken and Lisa and all the others that are struggling to get the insurance.
Exactly.
All right, Julie, thanks so much. Great job.